This video is about the Battle of Gettysburg during American Civil War. It was fought between July 1st and 3rd, 1863. In my previous video about Fredericksburg battle, we saw that the North was defeated by the Confederates, and then that gave a lot of morale boost to the Confederates. But here it's the other way around. The bloodiest engagement of American Civil War that resulted in over 51,000 casualties, it saw the defeat of Confederate General Robert E. Lee, halting the South invasion of the North and turning tide of the conflict. Union forces under General George Meade, they were able to make some progress. This legendary three-day engagement was in a small town of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Here the Confederates were able to push the Union forces to high ground positions on Cemetery Hill and Culp's Hill. On day 2, that is July 2nd, General Lee attempted to flank the heavily fortified Union lines. It was a brutal close quarters fighting at strategic landmarks like Little Round Top, Devil's Den, Peach Orchard, etc., but the Union lines held firm. On day 3, that is July 3rd, Lee launched a frontal assault on the center of the Union line on Cemetery Ridge, a disastrous infantry advance known as a Pickett's Charge. Facing devastating artillery fire, the attack failed and the Confederate force were decimated. On July 4th, Lee retreated towards Virginia, and the defeat ended the Confederate hopes of a successful northern invasion and shattered the myth of Lee's invincibility. Months later, on November 19, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln memorialized the fallen in his iconic Gettysburg address, redefining the purpose of the war, which is very historic. As many as 51,000 soldiers from both armies were killed and wounded, captured or missing in the three-day battle, and the carnage was overwhelming. But the Union victory improved Lincoln's hopes of ending the war. Lincoln expected that Meade will follow Lee and finish him off, but though Lee's escape was hampered by the floods in the Potomac River, Meade failed to pursue him. So Lincoln was disappointed with General Meade. In November 1863, a portion of the Gettysburg battlefield became a final resting place for the Union dead soldiers. President Lincoln, he attended the ceremony and dedicated the Gettysburg Soldiers' National Cemetery to honor the fallen and reassert the purpose of the war. In his historic Gettysburg address, it was so short in 271 words and was delivered after a 2-hour speech by another orator, Edward Everett. The core message was, it was connected to the Declaration of Independence, emphasizing the nation's founding principles of liberty and equality. The purpose was to consecrate the ground, honor the dead, and inspire the living to continue the fight for the Union and its ideals. He concluded with the ending phrase, which was so enduring: government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. So in 2 minutes, Abraham Lincoln honored the fallen soldiers, redefined the Civil War as a struggle for equality and the survival of democracy, and called for a new birth of freedom to ensure that the government is of the people, by the people, for the people. One of the important reasons for the defeat of the Confederates is something called the Pickett's Charge. Under George E. Pickett, who was a general of the Confederate Army, only one Confederate brigade temporarily reached the top of the ridge, afterwards referred to as the high watermark of the Confederacy. This daring strategy ultimately proves a disastrous sacrifice for the Confederates, with the casualties approaching 60%. After visiting the battlefield with the help of a guide in a bus, We had the beautiful experience of cyclorama. It was a massive 360-degree painting by French artist Paul Philippotex depicting Pickett's charge during the Battle of Gettysburg, designed to immerse the viewers in the chaos of the final day of the battle. This is housed in the Gettysburg National Military Park Museum and Visitor Center, where they have used a landscaped foreground and special lighting to create a three-dimensional illusion, making it a centerpiece of the park's visitor experience. This painting, which was created in 1880s, was restored and now offers an immersive educational experience alongside the battlefield itself. It's a huge curved canvas that encircles the viewer, creating a 360-degree view. The painter created this after interviewing the veterans for accuracy, it seems. It was wonderful to see as it had a 3D effect. The victory of the Union troops further encouraged the abolition of slavery later on. Thanks for watching my video.